Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio NFL Closing Time Show for Sunday, January 3rd, our first NFL show of 2021. Good to be with you. Happy New Year. Hope you enjoyed it, celebrating. Hopefully you remain safe and healthy as well. And we're ready to break down Week 17. This is always a minefield, and I always say, tread lightly on Week 17. Make sure you've got all the information at your disposal before you head to the betting window to bet these games. Who's in, who's out, who needs what in terms of the playoff scenarios, who's motivated, who's sitting, who isn't, who's sitting players. And there's a bunch of teams that have clinched already or are disinterested. And we're going to talk about Pittsburgh. They're just disinterested in the number 2 seed, and they've opted to rest players as well. We'll get through all of that with each game. Connor, Mac, Skee Profit with me as always. Let's get to it. We'll start, as always, the early games at 1 p.m. Eastern. This is a game that has plenty of significance to it because both of these teams are going to take the field with the old Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber reference. You're telling me there's a chance? Yes, there is a chance. The Dallas Cowboys and the New York Football Giants. We've got the Dallas Cowboys 1.5 to 2-point road favorites here. 43.5 the total in this one. And I made a small bet on the Giants here for a couple of reasons. I'm still not totally buying Dallas's little win streak here against Cincinnati, which was induced by a lot of turnovers and just an injury-plagued Bengals team. San Francisco, a bad quarterback in Nick Mullins who didn't play well. Another game where San Fran turned the ball over a lot and Dallas took advantage. Last week, a Philadelphia team banged up beyond belief on defense, and they were down 14-3 in that game. Let's not forget Dallas. Fletcher Cox gets injured, one of the best pass rushers, one of the leaders on that Eagle defense, and that Dallas offense just couldn't be stopped after that. And the game totally changed with that injury to Fletcher Cox. That's a concern. Dallas feasted on that, got the win. They're playing good football, don't get me wrong, but to me, to put them out there as road favorites here is a little suspect in my mind. I know the Giants have had their difficulties, their struggles, but they face superior, tougher competition in recent weeks. You look at strength of schedule down the stretch, the Giants have faced a much tougher slate than the Cowboys have. I still think the better defense is with the New York Giants going into this game. Daniel Jones reportedly, not what we know he's playing, but reportedly as healthy as he's been in weeks. I think that's probably going to help the Giants as well. And again, if the Cowboys, maybe the Cowboys will force a bunch of turnovers again and win again. But I think without the turnovers helping them and aiding their cause the last few weeks, the results could have been a little bit different. And as a result, this point spread could have been a little bit different. So I'm going to take the Giants here, getting the 1.5, 2 points here in this one. Again, both of these teams should have motivation and incentive. They're going to take the field thinking, hey, we win this game. Let's take our chances. Maybe the Eagles can do us a favor on Sunday Night Football and beat Washington and give us the division. What's your thoughts, Connor, on this one, Cowboys, Giants?
I'm with you here a bit. And you know me, I've been on the Cowboys the last 3 weeks, and they've been, they've won. Not only covered, won outright. I'm with you a little bit here. I'm with the Giants. This was the last game that I've been that I kept off from sending out and on the card. I like it. If you like this game, I like the Giants tease. You can get it at 8.5. I think they could win this game as well. I just don't think the Cowboys should be favored on the road, even at 1.5. Kind of a tough one. Giants better defense, Cowboys not so much. The only thing that kept me from pulling the trigger here real big, that given it out as one of my favorite plays, was the Giants scored 1 touchdown the last 2 weeks. I mean, yes, last week against the Ravens, I was just, it was like chalkboard, nails on a chalkboard. I mean, the last 2 weeks, and then the week before against the Browns, just those field goals. Oh, man, get in the end zone. But like you said, Daniel Jones is healthy. Giants are at home. I give a little bit here to the Giants. Plus 1.5. You take it money line. And like I said, this is a good teaser one, I think, at 8.5. If you want to.
Yeah, it's an excellent teaser. I forgot to mention that. I've got them on a couple of small teaser plays today. 2 team 6-point teasers. Giants are one of the legs of those teasers on a couple of them. Skee, what's your thoughts here? Cowboys, Giants.
Well, the Giants defense definitely better than Cowboys defense. But is Daniel Jones really that healthy? If he's banged up, maybe some of these guys can get after him. I look at both of these teams. I look at the Cowboys defense too. I don't think Vander Esch is playing right, and I think they're also missing a safety or two. So Dallas defense isn't great as it is, and I think maybe the Giants can finally start to score a little bit. I think it's a pretty low total. Dallas offense, I trust a lot more than Giants offense. Giants offense only put up, I think, 28 points the last 3 weeks, and Cowboys, I think, over 100. So, granted, they may not be playing the best teams, but I trust the Cowboys offense. I think maybe Giants can chip in too. I lean towards an over, and if I have to pick a side, I think I trust what I've seen from Dallas offense lately more than I can say I trust Giants to put up points. So I'll go with Dallas and I'll go with the over.
All right, leaning Dallas and over the total. Down to by the way, the total opened 47 in this game. It's down to 43. So if you like the over, there's actually some pretty decent value on it now at the current number, down around 43.5 with the total where it is. Pittsburgh taking on Cleveland. We got the Browns bet up from -4, which is where this opened. Boy, if you got Cleveland -4, good on you. Talk about closing line value. It's 10.5 now across the board. The total 44.5 in this game. The Browns certainly are in a spot where, control their own destiny. It's really that simple for the Cleveland Browns. And we'll see if they are able to follow through, get the job done. The Pittsburgh Steelers are certainly helping them out in that regard when it comes to resting starters. There's a bunch for the Steelers. Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, you could argue two of their best defensive players this year on that Pittsburgh defense. Both of them not going to play for the Steelers today. Ben Roethlisberger out, so Mason Rudolph is going to take over as the starting quarterback. For the Browns, they clinched the playoff berth, again, as I mentioned, with the win. If somehow the Steelers were to win, they'd have to hope for a Colts loss or a combination of a Titans loss and a Dolphins win and a Ravens win. So it could get dicey if somehow the Browns don't beat the Steelers. Just keep it simple, stupid, if you're Cleveland. Win the game, you're in the playoffs. Simple as that. With Pittsburgh, with those key defensive players out, guys, I'm veering toward, I think there is a way you can maybe bet Cleveland here without having to lay the 10.5, because I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do that because this is a pressure spot, and the Browns have not been in this kind of situation over the years, and that's a lot of points to be laying, even against a Pittsburgh team without Ben, with a couple of key starters on defense. Marquise Pouncey as well, starting center for the Steelers on the O-line is out. I don't want to lay this number. No way. And we have seen that must win doesn't equal will win. That's about the best advice I could give all of you for week 17. And don't just bet the teams that have to win because they need to win. It doesn't always work that way. Just ask Baltimore. Remember week 17 last year or a couple of years ago against Cincinnati? They got knocked out by the Bengals. Andy Dalton hit Tyler Boyd for a touchdown with a minute to go. Baltimore out Buffalo in the playoffs because of that. Baltimore needed to win. They didn't win. So again, that's why you just don't want to blindly bet the must-win teams, the teams that got to get the victory, got to get the dub today. Doesn't always work out that way. But what I do like in this game is maybe an over-team total with Cleveland, because I do think now Mayfield's got all his receivers back. Remember, 3 top receivers out last week because of the COVID situation. Peoples-Jones didn't play. Higgins didn't play. Landry didn't play. They're all going to be back today for the Cleveland Browns. And with Pittsburgh sitting some key starters on defense, and we did see the Colts and Phillip Rivers move the ball for, well over a half against that Pittsburgh defense when they had everybody in there. So I think that's the best way, in my opinion, at least, to bet this game. Look, Browns team total over. Don't have to worry then about what the Steeler offense does doesn't do potentially against the Browns defense. So that's the way I'm going in this game. Browns team total over. Connor, what about you? Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
That's a good look because I don't like either side total on either side in this game. I mean, you want to lay it now at 10 with the Browns? I don't, even if they got to win. This is still football. I don't, even how bad Rudolph is as a quarterback. I don't know, 10 points is a lot. I think you might be right with the over. Steelers can't move the ball with Rudolph. Maybe they can. I think the Browns with some of all those sittings. This one was just kind of sloppy. How much does Pittsburgh give a shit? I don't think they do. And, it was an ugly one. This was kind of a quick pass. But at 10 now, it's a little bit, tempting just to throw something on Pittsburgh. It definitely maybe a tease that up to 17.5. But I stayed off this game. I didn't like anything either way.
Yeah, Isaac in the chat, Baker completion's over. Yeah, I wouldn't talk you out of that. No, not a bad
something like that. Yeah.
In my opinion. Skee, what's your thoughts here? Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm not in love with this game. Not really that I'm in love with any of these games in week 17, but it's really hard for me to get to the window to lay double digits with the Browns, regardless whoever's sitting on the Steelers side. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think the Browns defense is that good in general. And Mason Rudolph, if anybody, I think he has something to play for. He still has to prove himself. If he looks good, maybe he earns himself some future money. So I think 10 points is too much. I'm just not interested in laying double digits with teams that don't have good defenses. So I'll look towards that. And we will also see, I don't know if anybody thought of this. Is it Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett reunion?
Yeah,
it will be.
It is.
It actually will be. Yes, with this helmet swinging incident from a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So yeah, I lean the Steelers. I don't want to lay with the Browns. That's it for me.
I would agree. I think at 10.5, you take maybe a small shot with Pittsburgh. I mean, it's a divisional dog. It's a divisional home underdog. I know they're sitting guys, and there's not really there's no indication Pittsburgh has they don't give two shits about the 2 seed. That's why Mike Tomlin is doing what he's doing, resting the guys he's doing. They clearly have expressed they do not care about the 2 seed, which means they don't really care too much about winning this game. But can Cleveland screw it up? Yes. Like I said, this game is the biggest variance game, or one of them, of the week. I could see Cleveland romping Pittsburgh today. I could see Cleveland winning a close game. Hell, and I wouldn't even be totally shocked if they blew it entirely straight up, the Browns. So that's why I think this game is all over the map, could go in a bunch of different ways. But I do think, regardless of win-loss, or win or cover, no cover for the Browns, I do think they can score points here on this Pittsburgh defense. So that's why I do like the team total option with the Cleveland Browns. Next up at 1 p.m. Eastern, while these two teams playing for exercise, New York Jets and the New England Patriots here. New England 3-point favorites at home, 41 the total in this game. Look, I mean, for me, it's you take the Jets or pass. I mean, the New England Patriots look like one of those teams that are mentally locked or checked out. This is especially for the guys that have been on the Patriots now for a few years. They're not used to missing the playoffs. It's eating away at them, and it's eating away at their effort and their intensity. That they've looked lethargic, decidedly lethargic, the last couple of games, especially Monday night against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that was just, once they got behind, it was over. It was done. It was just a rollover and play dead type of effort from the New England Patriots. That's not a team I'm looking at back in week 17 after a disappointing season, laying points. No way. For me, it's Jets plus the points here. It's the only way I could go. It's kind of a little bit more dicey for the Jets to back them here this week. I get it, because now that's official that Gase is out. I don't know if that changes anything, but now they know there's going to be changes. But nevertheless, they back-to-back wins against the Rams, and albeit the depleted Browns last week at the wide receiver position, still got to give the Jets all kinds of credit for winning those 2 games back-to-back. And Sam Darnold, I'll tell you what, he's putting up points, moving the football now that he's got a receiving core that's fully healthy. So we'll give Darnold credit, playing like a guy that says, don't you dare draft a quarterback coming up next year in the NFL draft. I'm not giving up my seat easily. He may have to. He doesn't have a choice in the matter, but Sam Darnold's kind of playing that way. Like, I still think I can be the guy here in New York for the football Jets. So he's going to, I think, come to this game just like he did the last 2 with a purpose, play well and finish out the season strong. So, and in terms of which team do I trust to want to finish out the season strong, I sure as hell trust the Jets more than the Patriots right now. I've shown you nothing the last couple of weeks. So for me, it would be Jets plus points. Connor, what's your thoughts here? New York and New England.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is just both teams. The Patriots really look checked out. That Bills game, they look like that second half didn't give a shit. Tackling, the Bills just poured it on them. They just want to get this season over with. All those shots at Cam Newton with his towel, on the sidelines. They always love shooting that shot, how he's all, pissed off and sad as they get their ass kicked. The Jets have played well. They played hard, and you know what? They don't get the number 1 pick now. So why not? I like them plus 3. I take a little bit money line, because no way I want to lay points with the Patriots right now. So give me the Jets plus 3.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Patriots, to me, we see things not going well once again for Cam Newton. And you know what? It tells you just how much the Patriots don't really think Jarrett Stidham is going to give them much of anything in the future because Newton's planning to start today. Like, you've seen everything you need to from Newton. It would behoove you maybe to give Stidham a start from start to finish, and they're still not going to. So that tells you all you need to know about what Stidham is or isn't, I should say, in their future plans. So, and another thing too about the Jets, an angle to consider as to maybe why to back them here, kind of like with the Bills last week, even after they had clinched the division, teams in the AFC East want to give this Patriots team their comeuppance, for years of domination, for years of slapping them around, treating them like their bitch. Enough's enough. The Bills said, we're kicking your keister last week for a change. I think the Jets might have that mindset. There's going to be some incentive there that, hey, they've kicked us around for years, this team dominating this division. It's payback time. So we'll see if the Jets take that mindset when they take the field today. Skee, how about you here? Jets versus Patriots.
The Patriots are just look really bad. They've got averaged, 8 points their last 3 games, and they're going up against a Jets team. I mean, Patriots want to run the ball, and they're going up against a Jets team where that's not really the way you want to attack them. You would rather attack them through the air. So I think it matches up well for the Jets. Jets have been playing better lately. They won 2 games. So catching points against an unmotivated Patriots team, I'll be on the Jets side in this one. And if I had to play the total, it's weird because Patriots haven't been scoring and Jets have been scoring more. So I'll lean towards an under just because maybe I don't see Patriots putting up too many points, but more so towards the Jets side.
All right, liking the Jets here. All of us here on liking the New York Jets, Jets. Minnesota, Detroit, another game where we've got 2 teams just playing out the string here. We've got the Vikings, 3-point favorites on the road in Detroit at Ford Field. Total 54 in this game. I'll tell you what, he has no reason to have to or want to start in this game for the Lions, but Matt Stafford, I'll give him credit. He's got ankle injuries, rib injuries, thumb injuries, and here he is in a freaking meaningless finale going out there to start at quarterback for the Lions. I give him credit for that. He doesn't have to do that. It's a lousy season once again. He's had one of many lousy seasons he's experienced here in Detroit with the Lions, and yet he's going out there, putting his helmet on, getting ready to play football. I tip of the cap to Stafford for doing that. He doesn't have to, and he's certainly going to help the Lions offense because I saw enough from both David Blau and Chase Daniel last week after Stafford got hurt against Tampa Bay, where to talk about 2 guys that were completely ineffective moving the football for the Lions. So I actually think they got a chance to put up points. I actually think the Lions offense could show up and make some plays here. Minnesota's defense is terrible going into this game. Kenny Golladay, there was thoughts might actually be activated, which was kind of weird, but he is out. But still Jones and Sanu, Amendola, Quintez Cephas, Hawkinson, Swift is going to play, the rookie running back who's had a nice year. There's weapons here for Detroit to move the ball. Problem is their defense is just banged up beyond belief. It's a horrible defense right now, shorthanded, guys out on the D-line, guys out in the secondary once again for this Lions team. You look at the inactives for them going into this game. There's a bunch in the secondary. That's concerning facing the Vikings here, who have actually been able to score points. Their issues have been on defense. And Mike Zimmer's not used to having a bad defense. He said it, this is the worst defense I've ever had. He said it after the loss against the Saints on Christmas Day. The worst defense I've ever had. That's a pretty big indictment of that side of the football from a guy that's obviously coached defense in the NFL going back to his coordinator days for well over a couple of decades now. So when he says something like that, that's a pretty bad defense considering how long he's been coaching that side of the ball. So the total's high, but I could only look over the total in this game with Minnesota, Detroit indoors. Weather won't be an issue. Connor, what's your thoughts here with Vikings and Lions?
This one's kind of difficult, but I like the Vikings here. I don't like, Stafford's in. How much he's gutsy. That's what kind of. But this is a game. I feel like the Vikings can win here. One of these meaningless ones. Kirk Cousins, and at 3. This would be a Lion spot. They're just so banged up. The defense is so bad, but the Viking defense is bad. And I take a little bit on the over. I didn't play this or send it out, but now if Stafford's in, I think the over's got a little bit to it. Even though at 53.5, I think he can get there. If he's out, like you said, they could. I don't even know if they could score on that horrible Viking defense, Chase Daniels or whoever. But maybe they get. I think he can get over here. I don't know how mobile Stafford was. I mean, that looked pretty bad. He didn't come back in.
Yep.
I mean, he's gutsy as all hell. The ribs are busted. One thing is that guy's tough as shit. You got to give it to him. And I like backing him. As soon as he got hurt, I was the guy who had the Lions plus 10. Come on, last week. This guy, I gotta shout out my losses and my shit fix. That's how it goes. You know, I win big, you lose big.
Wins and losses. I hear you. Yeah.
So, with him, I'm still gonna go with the Vikes. I took it earlier at 3. I'm gonna go with the Vikings here. They win one. Win the Vikes and lean the over. Staffordton.
Yeah, and that's why the over is really just a lean. I don't even know a small play. I did bet a small one, very tiny bet on the over. It's just because I don't know if 100% health and mobility is there for Stafford. 3 different parts of his body are hurting right now. So, question is, how close to 100% is he going to be? What's your thoughts, Skee, on Minnesota, Detroit?
Well, I'll say this Vikings defense is by no means. I mean, I'm not big on the Buccaneers defense, but they're better than the Vikings defense. And the Lions, the thing I don't like is, like you said, Stafford is banged up. If this is a healthy Lions team, if he's not banged up, I see him putting points up on his Vikings team. But if he comes out like last week and plays a couple snaps and has to go sit down, it's going to be tough for me to see Lions putting up points. So I don't think he's that healthy. I do think he's a hell of a tough guy because he goes out there every week no matter what, it seems like. But I could see him maybe leaving the game early. I mean, what are you going to stay in there for? You have no chance at anything. You're just going to risk your health for nothing. So I could see him sitting down at some point in this game. And Vikings, without Dalvin Cook, probably won't be as successful on the ground. The Lions defense is terrible too, but it's just I see Vikings without the top running back, and I see Stafford banged up. So I lean towards less points. Maybe we get – I don't want to wish injury on anybody, but I could see him maybe not finishing the game.
Oh, this over is going to die on the vine if Matthew Stafford does not finish the game for Detroit. There's no question about that because you're right. I didn't see much from Chase Daniel or David Blau from the Lions last week to induce a lot of confidence there. We've got Atlanta, Tampa Bay here. Buccaneers 7 at home as favorites, 50.5 the total. The Falcons, can they rear back and give you one last competitive, strong effort like they did last week against Kansas City? That's just the question you got to ask yourself for this Falcons team. I don't know. It's tough for me. And the injury situation for Atlanta is also an issue going into this game. Julio Jones out, Darqueze Dennard injured, one of their better cornerbacks as well. Definitely a concern, those 2 injuries. Now, Jones has been out all year. I mean, they've certainly got Russell Gage, Calvin Ridley. They've got other options, no doubt. But it seems like Julio Jones has just had a season riddled with injuries. However, there's some key injuries as well on Tampa Bay's side of the football. In the linebacking core, there's a couple injuries. In the secondary, a couple as well. So that defense is a little bit hurting going into this game as well. So can Atlanta take advantage of that? That remains to be seen. Last time I took Tampa Bay, or in the last game between these 2 teams earlier this season, I took Tampa Bay. They had a horrible first half. They came back and won and nearly came back and covered as well, but they just fell short of the cover. I'm not going to fall into that trap this week. Now, they did come out strong for the first time in a while last week, Tampa Bay, and laid the smackdown on Detroit. But, of course, Detroit, just a ton of issues right now with injuries and just no defense at all on that side of the ball. I think Atlanta might put up a little bit more resistance. The number's in a good spot. I don't really love either side where the number is right now. It's a pass for me. But I've seen enough of Tampa Bay now where laying 7, that's the true essence of gambling, in my opinion, when it comes to this Bucks team. Connor, what do you think here, Tampa, Atlanta?
Yeah, there's no way I could lay it with Tampa Bay. I don't know. They're all right. They're an okay football team. I think they're a little bit of frauds. So I'm on the Falcons here. And again, I take it all year. It happened last week. We had full game. I know me and Skee, but I threw it in because I had to remind myself it's it all year. Atlanta first half. They're getting +4. Even what was it, 3 weeks ago when they played, they got out to that big lead. They've been unreal first half and fall apart in the second. They finally, played a pretty complete game and almost could have beat the Chiefs there. But I'm with you. I'm on both. I'm going to take a first half, the +4, and I like the +7 for the full game. And on the total, this one could stay under. Weirdly, I don't. I don't really have anything on the total. I'm going to stay off.
Yeah, I mean, the total is a pass for me. Side is a pass for me. And keep in mind, too, Bucks have already clinched a playoff spot, and it's not a huge deal if they move up or down at this point. It's not like the be-all, end-all Tampa Bay team. So the incentive factor as compared to other teams may not be quite as high. What's your thoughts, Skee, at Falcons and Bucks?
Well, the Bucks are missing a couple of guys to the COVID list. And just thinking about this Falcons team, they've been pretty solid. Like ever since Dan Quinn was fired, they've looked pretty good. The first few games, they allowed 32.2 points per game. And then after that, the last 10, they've only allowed 20.9. So the defense has been playing a lot better. It's just sometimes this offense, they get stuck settling for field goals. But I think this is a game where they can score some points. I mean, we saw them get out to a big lead against the Buccaneers last time they played. And then we saw the famous Tom Brady comeback versus Atlanta, like always. So I agree with Connor. I mean, I think Falcons' first half has been good all year this year. I think it was good last year. And I don't want to be holding a Falcons ticket when Tom Brady is looking down on the bench on the side and coming out in the second half. So Atlanta could blow that second half. I'll take them first half.
All right, like in Atlanta, I agree. If you like Atlanta, split it up at the very least between the first half and full game, knowing the penchant for Atlanta second halves to sometimes not be so good for them. Baltimore, Cincinnati. Baltimore 13.5-point road favorites, 45 the total. This is a lot of points to be laying with Baltimore. Cincinnati's one of those teams. All of a sudden, 2 weeks in a row. Where's this? Look at the effort and the execution down the stretch. They beat Pittsburgh. No letdown, and I was dead wrong on the Texans laying the points last week. Dead wrong on that. No letdown whatsoever for Cincinnati. They got the job done against Houston last week. A terrible Texans defense. Brandon Allen, of all people, shredding that Houston defense last week in that game. Just an ugly, ugly defensive showing for the Texans. But give Cincinnati credit. They've kept moving the ball on offense. Allen did some things. I think Baltimore is going to absolutely do what they want against Cincinnati's defense with Lamar. This offense is rolling right now. Cincinnati struggles against the run. That's bad news against Baltimore. The question is, what are you going to get from the Bengals offensively? Because I think we can get over this total of 45. I just get that sense we can here in this game. It's just a question of, can Cincinnati do it against a much better defense? Houston's got no defense, and they were great last week moving the ball. Can they do it this week against Baltimore? That's the question. I think Baltimore is good for 35 in this game against Cincy. I see no reason they can't get to that. All I would need is, maybe 10 points, 14, 17 out of Cincinnati. I think that's doable here. I do like this game over the total 45 with Baltimore, Cincinnati here. I think it just gets up and over that total. And I lean Bengals. I do, but I just don't know if I can pull the trigger. But I would lean that way. It's a lot of points here on the road with Baltimore in this one. So Connor, what's your thoughts here with Ravens and Bengals?
Yeah, the Ravens. I think that game against I think was it Sunday night or Monday night against the Patriots. They really, since that game, I haven't been on them much, and I'm not going there again. And they've kicked the shit out of the Bengals here. I got it at like an hour ago. At 13.5, I still like it. I got it like an hour and a half ago at 14. I feel better with the 14. Cincinnati's played well. I got to take a 2 touchdown. They're at home. Give me the Bengals here. I'll hold my nose, but I'm taking Cincinnati. And hopefully they play well because, like I said, they have just stepped all over them. The Ravens over the years, they just kick their ass. It just regularly. But give me the Bengals. Taking the Bengals, baby.
Yeah, this is one of those teams that are out of the playoffs that I expect to show up because they have the last 2 weeks. Like the Bengals are showing up and playing. And I'll give Zach Taylor, the young coach, credit. He's kept the team fired up, inspired down the stretch of a tough season. Demoralizing to lose Joe Burrow to injury earlier this season, and yet they still keep on coming out to the field and playing hard like they did against Pittsburgh, like they did against Houston last week. Now, Baltimore, again, this is another one of those situations. Baltimore doesn't give 2 shits about winning by 2 touchdowns in this game. Just win the game. That's all they need to do, Baltimore, to clinch a playoff spot. They clinch a spot either with a win or with a Colts loss or with a Browns loss. Those are the 3 paths to getting a playoff spot today for Baltimore. But first and foremost, just win and they're in. will get the job done for the Ravens. Skee, what's your thoughts here with the Ravens and Bengals?
I don't think the Ravens have to try too hard to put up the points in this game. They've been playing really well lately. Past, 4 games or so? I think they've averaged 37 points per game, 233 yards on the ground. And you're going to play a Bengals team. Defense is not good. When they played the Steelers, yeah, they got the win. They had 17 points. They only had 89 passing yards. And they played the terrible Texans defense last week. I don't think it's going to be the same story here versus the Ravens defense. And yeah, they may not care so much to win by margin, but I don't think they necessarily have to. I just think they're a much more talented team, and I think they can get the job done. So I'll lean Ravens, and I like the over too, just because I think Baltimore can really name their number.
Yeah, the over is definitely my strongest stance when it comes to this one. Miami, Buffalo. This is the last of the early kickoffs at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We've got Miami now 3.5-point road favorites in Buffalo, 42 the total. Look, Buffalo, the secret's out now. Sean McDermott was a very difficult coach to decipher throughout the course of the week, who's in and who's out. Josh Allen's going to play, but he's going to be on a snap count. I think they want to get him toward being the leading pass most yards in a single season passing record for the Bills. He's 40 yards away from that. So it's not going to take him long to get that probably. But that's why they want him in the game for at least a little bit. I think he'll play a quarter, a half at the very most. That might even be a stretch. He might only play a quarter in this game. And then you're going to see Matt Barkley, the backup, who's expected to get meaningful snaps here for the Bills. They've also got a couple other key players that are sitting out, especially on defense. There's a bunch for the Bills not active today. Cole Beasley's out at wide receiver, but you've got Jerry Hughes, defensive end out, Mario Addison, another defensive end out, the best cornerback, Tre'Davious White, not going to play for the Buffalo Bills today. So that's why the money's coming in on Miami. The secret's out. The Bills will be resting starters, and Allen isn't going to play more than a quarter, maybe a half at most. That being said, this is Miami in a spot where they got to win. There's a young team, young group. Can they, in the moment, can they get it done? They're in cold weather, cold climate, and Tua in a cold climate bothers me and worries me a little bit because we saw him play against Denver, similar elements. And guess what? He had his worst game, I think, one of his worst games probably since he's been the starter, and they didn't beat the Broncos in that game. The Bills are a hell of a lot better than the Broncos. I don't care who's sitting or who's starting for the Bills. So, look, I understand there's a lot more incentive and a lot at stake here for Miami. I get it. They need to win in order to punch their ticket to the playoffs. But you won't see me laying 3.5 now with Miami. Just not interested. Connor, how about you? What's your thoughts here, Miami Buffalo? It's a pass for me, by the way, on that game.
Yeah, this is a pass for me too. Just because you nailed everything. Tua in the cold. How much is Allen going to play? Probably a quarter, maybe a half. I mean, now it's 3.5. Not that I do it. Maybe Buffalo. How much can you trust Barkley? It's just a game you don't want to bet. I don't want to put my money on this, not knowing what's going to go down. And like I know Skee's probably not big on him either on Tua. So, in the freezing cold, how good could he do? Miami's got to win. I could see being close, but I just don't like it. I'm going to pass.
You know what might be worth a look? Buffalo first quarter, because that's going to be the part of the game where Allen's in. And they want to get him that passing record. Single season passing record in team history. And I could see the Dolphins, starting out slow, a little tight, nervous, butterflies in the stomach, whatever, trying to win this game to get into the playoffs. First quarter Bills. I might actually lock that one in. I'm talking myself into it the more I'm mentioning it. Skee, what's your thoughts here? Miami, Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you like Buffalo, you take them early because you don't want them after Allen comes out. Is it Barkley? Yeah, I think Barkley's backing him up. So I don't want to put my money on Barkley. If I'm going to get involved with Buffalo, it'll be first quarter or first half. I'm not a big quarter player myself, but that definitely does make sense. At the same time, I'm not interested in really laying with the Dolphins. I know they, quote unquote, need this game, but I'm not big on Tua either. I don't think he can push the ball down the field. I think if they don't score too many points in that first quarter or first half, the game definitely goes under. So I lean towards less points in this game. It would either be Buffalo early for me or the under.
And Brian Flores has no backup plan today. there's no safety blanket today for Tua Tagovailoa if he struggles. There's no Ryan Fitzpatrick around to put in there. Reed Sinnett is your backup today, your backup option for the Miami Dolphins at quarterback. He'll serve as the backup quarterback, promoted from the practice squad, essentially. So that's what you're looking at essentially here for the Miami Dolphins. That's so it's all on Tua. And if Tua's really, really struggling, he's not coming out today. No, it's going to fall on his shoulders to get this done for the Miami Dolphins. So we'll see what this is going to go. This is a nice little early in his career statement game for Tua. If he can go there, command the offense, put his best foot forward, and lead this team into the postseason. So we're going to find out a lot about the flying Hawaiian here, Tua Tagovailoa in this game against the Buffalo Bills. All right, now to the late games now, 4:25 Eastern, 1:25 p.m. Pacific kickoffs, the rest of the card, or at least the next slate. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, all the money coming in on Indy here is 12.5. It's up to 15.5 now, 48 the total in this game. You can understand why that is. Jacksonville, the second half was, that was just a team that rolled over. They actually played well in the first half, but after that, that was about it from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got just blown out in the second half by the Chicago Bears. Mike Lennon's going to start. Doug Marrone rumblings that he's gone and that the Jaguars might actually be targeting Urban Meyer, former Ohio State, Florida head coach, maybe to be their next head coach. So you got that going on in the background. It's definitely not a situation that's conducive to, you would think, a focused team with all these distractions, key starters out on both sides of the ball. We know what's ahead of the Colts. Colts are the one team in the AFC playoff race with all these teams trying to get in, guys, that they do not control their own destiny. They need to beat Jacksonville, and they need other things to happen. They need other shit to happen. They've got to win, and they got to hope the Jaguars, or they got to win and hope the Dolphins lose, or win and hope the Ravens lose, or win and hope the Browns lose. So they need one of those three. They need to win, and they got to hope one of the Dolphins, Ravens, or Browns lose today. That's the path to get in for the Indianapolis Colts. They can also get into the playoffs by clinching the division, which they can do if they beat the Jaguars and if somehow the Titans lose to the Houston Texans today. So that's the path for Indy. They need to win. It starts right there. They've got to win this game. The question is, do they win it by 16 or more? But I don't want Jacksonville. It'll be Colts or nothing. I think the over here is in play. I think Indy can get to 40, honestly, against this Jacksonville defense today. I mean, they moved the ball well against a good Pittsburgh team last week. Jacksonville's given up 30, 40 every week lately. And then you can get maybe just a 7, 10, 13, 14 points tops from Jacksonville might be all you need to get over 48. So the over's in play for me here. Connor, what's your thoughts? Jags, Colts.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with this one. Man, that's a lot of points. But the Colts, like you said, they got to win. This is a long way from the first week of the year where this was their win. The Jags beat the Colts at home, I think 27-20 to the end of the year. And this is the spread now. This is how long, the whole season it's gone. I got to stay away. I'd like a little bit your over because I think, Indy could probably hang up 40. Can the Jags score that? I think they can. I lean the over. I don't have a play on either thing. But the over's a little interesting at 48. Maybe I see a few 47.5. So I'd lean over.
Looks like maybe
Ian frozen.
Yeah, got a little frozen. On this game,
he can bounce out. Yeah.
Yeah, on this game, Colts and Jaguars. I understand. I think if the Colts score 40 points, I think the Colts will have success against this Jaguars defense because they're terrible. But if the Colts score 40 points, I'm pretty sure this game is going to go over. My thing is, will they score those 40 points? And how much will the Jaguars help out? We've seen this Colts defense play well versus some of the lesser teams. Maybe the Colts defense just holds them down today. I don't think the Jaguars, they don't want to win either. They want Trevor Lawrence. So I think we see Colts defense show up. It's tough for me to get to the window. I think I'm seeing over 2 touchdowns now. The only way I think I'll play this game, I'll bet on the Colts defense to show me something in this last week. I know the offense probably can do what they want to do. And we'll bank on the Jaguars to tank and not do too much scoring. So under for me. I thought we maybe had Ian back, but Still frozen. I don't have the games in a rotation order. You back in?
I'm back. I don't know. We just had we're on the blink a little bit here, but we're back. Yeah, I just heard.
All right, I guess. Do you have the next game up on the rotation order, Connor? I know which games we haven't talked about. You're on mute, bro.
Shit, no, I'm on mute. Packers, Bears. I got next.
Packers,
What we
Bears.
got here? Yeah, Packers, Bears. Give me 1 sec. I don't have it pulled up. There we go. We got a total of 48.5. I see a 149, and Green Bay is favored by 4.5. Green Bay's got to win to get the number 1 seed. So, man, this is a tough one. It's going to be cold. I think the weather, I think this can get over. I know it's going to be like, 20 degrees, 30 degrees. But I think this one can get over a little bit. Trubisky's played better, but I don't trust either defense, really. Green Bay played well the other night on Sunday night, as Razor reminded me throughout the game last week. Aaron Rodgers looks really good still. I mean, he could probably win the MVP this year. This one's difficult. If I had to take it, I'd lean the Bears. I don't love anything on this. A little bit the over. I think this could get over that 48.5. It's a low total. I think everyone thinks because of the weather in Chicago. That's why it's down. But I lean the over here a little bit.
I think I'm back. I hope I'm back. Yeah, I think I am. Hopefully, yeah. Sometimes this happens. Usually, John. Actually, I was told by my internet provider a few days ago they'd be doing some work in the area of the next few days. I'm wondering if that has anything to do with what's going on here. But nevertheless, I'm back. Apparently, we're talking Green Bay, Chicago. I'm with Connor on the over here for sure. I've been riding Chicago overs every week. Jacksonville went over last week. The Minnesota game the week before went over with Chicago. Trubisky and the offense is working right now. And look, Green Bay's defense is playing a lot better the last few weeks, but I don't think they're shutting down Chicago. Chicago's got everything to play for. Win, and they're in the playoffs. They control their own destiny. I think this offense can move the ball. And again, the pass rush has been the strength of the Packer defense lately. Trubisky's mobility can keep the pass rush away from him. I think that's going to be beneficial to the Bears offense, but I don't think the Bears are going to shut down Rodgers and Devontae Adams. That combo just keeps on just eating up opposing defenses, no matter how good they are. And still a lot to play for Green Bay. They want the number 1 seed. Rodgers has told anybody that'll listen for weeks, they want the number 1 seed. They want to play their home games in the playoffs at Lambeau. I think that offense shows up here. Not involved in the side, but do like over the total. Skee, go ahead with Green Bay, Chicago.
I can't argue. Bears overs have been the way to go, I think, ever since Trubisky stepped in. I will say, though, I look back at they played about, 5 weeks ago? And they scored combined 66 points, Packers and Bears. But the teams that the Bears have been playing lately have just been really bottom tier. Like,
true,
the defenses have been terrible. So Packers, they're a little bit better. The Bears' run game has gotten going a little bit more with Montgomery, and that's kind of the way I think to go after the Packers. But like you said, Ian, Bears control their own destiny. Yes, the Packers. They have something to play for too, but not as much as the Bears. And if I'm getting points with them in a game, I know they'll play all out at home. I'll be backing the home dog, and I agree, points should be scored. I don't think the Bears secondary is that great, and I think Rodgers and I'm blanking out on his name, star receiver for the Packers,
Devontae Adams. Yeah, Adams.
Yeah. I think they can take advantage of the Bears secondary, and I think Bears can put up points too. So Bears and over for me.
Yeah, Bakhtiari's out for the season, Melvin. Out for the season. It's a big loss, but we saw last week against Tennessee. No problem. Still move the ball and move the ball very effectively against the Titans. So I think they can. Obviously, they're going to miss him, but I think it's still with Aaron Rodgers, and the fact he gets the ball out quickly, I think that helps. Mask any issues with the offensive line as well. I think that's probably going to help as well. But it's not just Adams. Like, we've got a receiving core now that's becoming more and more. Like, the other guys have stepped up. Valdez-Scantling has played very well the last few weeks. Now he's called Robert Tonyan, the tight end for the Packers. So get the pronunciation correct. Tunyon here, the way to go. Razor and Razor's one of those guys, even though he's a Packers fan, he'll bet against them if he thinks it makes sense. Bears plus the points he likes. You're right. There's more like for Chicago. This is their season on the line. If the Packers don't win, they want to win the Packers, but if they don't win, they're still going to be in the postseason. So it's a big difference. I would agree just because of that. And you got a home underdog here. Yeah, I would only look Chicago, but I do like that game over the total for sure. Speaking of over the total, let's go to Tennessee and Houston. Tennessee, 7-point road favorites, 55. I mean, I'm keeping this simple. This says shootout written all over it. Houston can't stop anybody, can't stop the run, can't stop the pass. They're not going to do well against Derrick Henry and Tannehill and his weapons down the field. And Tennessee, bad offensive game against Green Bay, but I think the snow and the weather and the conditions at Lambeau kind of threw them for a loop. Nothing the Houston defense does will throw this Titans team for a loop on offense, not what I've seen in recent weeks. But Deshaun Watson and the Texans, they still score. Look at what the performances you're getting from Watson. Even with receivers out, he's still finding guys down the field to throw the football to and have success with this Texans offense. Brandon Cooks, Kiki QT, they're now healthy, ready to go for this game. Having Brandon Cooks back is significant. Fuller and, of course, Cobb still out. But he's making plays every week, and it's not taking much to make plays offensively against Tennessee's defense this season. So keeping this one simple, over 55. This game, I think, got into the high 50s. The last meeting between these two teams earlier this season, it was a shootout in Tennessee. I think we have another one on tap here with the Texans and Titans, over 55 for me. Connor, what about you in this one?
I agree. Both defenses are bad. I know it's 54.5, but I try to look towards the other way. It's a divisional game. I want to look, to the other side and think, man, I want to take the under here, but I just don't see it. The Bengals scored 31, Titans score, Texans score, but I like the Texans. Not only I like the over, I'm going to take the 7 at home. I think Deshaun Watson, one thing, he stays in ball games. I don't think, a lot of people, maybe they could, but I'll take 7 points with him as a home dog all day. So give me the over and give me the +7 with the Texans here.
I would be more inclined to take the Texans than the Titans for sure as well. I'm not
laying that many
that way. And they gave Tennessee everything they could handle. That went to overtime. The first meeting, Tennessee and Houston earlier this season. And and Deshaun Watson's just one of those guys. He's not giving up. He's still playing well. That might be enough. Skee, how about you with Tennessee Houston?
I think it's a good game to tease. I think you could tease Tennessee down. I do think they win the game. I think their offense is more balanced than Houston's offense, and both defenses aren't great. So I agree with the look on the over. Houston, I think they're giving up 150 plus rushing yards per game. So I could just see Tennessee just running it down their throat all game, and I think they come out with the win. If I have to play the spread, it's tough. I just don't like this Houston team. I'll lean towards Tennessee, but I much rather have the over. And if I want to back Tennessee, I probably would tease it with another team.
Yeah, definitely. I would prefer Tennessee in a teaser for sure, rather than laying 7. There's no question there. By the way, the Titans could still miss the playoffs. There is a scenario where they can miss the playoffs entirely. If they lose to the Texans and the Dolphins beat the Bills and the Ravens beat the Bengals, those 3 things happen, Tennessee's out of the playoffs, if you can believe that. So, but as highly unlikely as that is, I'm just throwing it out there. There's a scenario where Tennessee could miss. New Orleans and Carolina, we've got New Orleans 6-point road favorites, 46.5, 47 the total. We know the whole entire running back core for the Saints is out, COVID-19 concerns, including Alvin Kamara, who tested positive. Ty Montgomery's been called up from the practice squad to be the starting running back. I'm sure you're going to see a bunch of Taysom Hill and run sets today to make up for the running back injuries as well, even though Drew Brees is still going to start and play at quarterback. Carolina's feisty, and they took New Orleans down to the wire, when these two teams met in New Orleans earlier this season, and they've not given up. They dealt a spoiler role to Washington last week, albeit Haskins was terrible. That played a part in it, but Carolina brought the effort, wanted to play spoiler, relished the role. And one thing about Matt Rule, he's a master motivator. He is a rah-rah kind of guy. He gets his teams amped up. Go back to college with Baylor and Temple when he coached there. even when they had some down spurts, they'd show up for the end of the season. And we're seeing that with Carolina. I would lean to the points here with the Panthers, quite honestly. I don't think New Orleans cares too much about moving up or down from a seed standpoint either, in my opinion, right now. Connor, what about you? New Orleans, Carolina.
Yeah, with Kamara out and Thomas still out, right? He's not going to play till the playoffs, right? He's out.
Thomas, yes.
Yeah. So those guys out again. I got to take the points with the Panthers at home. I was on that when I took the 7 in New Orleans, and like you said, it was a solid game. 27-24, almost tied it up there in the end. So this is one I was staring at. I will probably get to the window with probably before the afternoon games, but I'm nothing on the total. Maybe lean under a little bit, but with those weapons out. But give me the Panthers +6 here.
And Teddy Bridgewater knows that team inside out from his time with the Saints. He lit up that Saints defense the first meeting. Even though they didn't win, Saints didn't stop Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina in that game. And the Saints defense has kind of regressed all of a sudden the last couple of weeks. The Minnesota game, that was alarming. Minnesota went up and down the field most of the game against that Saints defense. Very concerning because the defense was just lights out for several games in a row. And they got punched. They got their lights punched out, in a couple games in a row, including by Minnesota. So definitely leery of laying points on the road here with the Saints personally. Skee, what about you? New Orleans, Carolina.
Yeah, they still got the win in that game pretty comfortably, but I agree the defense was not what I expected. And with that said, I still think the Saints defense is pretty good. Saints still have something to play for too. I mean, if the Packers lose, like we just talked about, and the Bears have everything to play for over there, I think Saints named their number in this one, honestly. Without the running backs, I think Peyton is the kind of guy who he likes to run up the score. Drew Brees likes to run up the score. I think the Saints don't stop scoring in this game. I think the Panthers defense is terrible. Yes, Teddy Bridgewater's been good covering as an underdog, but I mean, if you like the Panthers to keep it close, I think you definitely like this game to go over because I just don't think the Saints stop scoring at all. So I lean towards the over probably more than anything. And if I'm playing the side, it's going to be the Saints for me.
All right, lean to the Saints and the over for Skee. Do you guys want to do a early game for a best bet because we're getting close to kickoff? Skee, Connor, do you want to do an early kickoff for best bet, or are you going to make your best bet a later game?
It doesn't matter. I don't even have a best bet right yet. You know how I roll.
All right. How about you, Skee? You want to wait till the late games or Sunday?
Mine is on the 1:00 games.
Oh, okay.
I'll give it. Let's do it right now.
All right.
If yours is, go ahead, Skee.
I'll rock with the Bears. Bears have everything to play for. Home dog. Packers don't necessarily have to win. So give me the Bears +4.5.
There you go. Chicago Bears. Da Bears +4.5. Best number out there. Connor, best bet. And
mine's for a later game too. I like this. I already got it here in stations. I got Westgate. So I got a 3 because I'm going to split it. I'm going to take the points with the Broncos, but I'm going to take a money line as well. I think you got a good shot. The Raiders shouldn't be laying points anywhere. And I lean the over a little bit there as well. It's at 50.5.
All right.
I think the Broncos win it outright. But take the 3 if you can get it.
Denver +3 at Connor's best bet. I'm going to give out mine now too, since we're all in that. Mine's going to be a late game as well. I'm going with the Green Bay Chicago over the total. It's been working. It's now down to 48.5 in a lot of spots. Really good number now. Bears Packers for me over 48.5. That'll be my best bet. So there's the best bets, and actually they're all late games. So, but there we go. We wanted to get those out there because I know some people are worried we might have a best bet for the early games, which are about to kick off. But yeah. Yeah, we'll keep on going now down the rest of the card. Lots of info. I mean, we're trying to give you the info, what teams need to do for the clinching scenarios, who's in, who's out. So taking a little more time than normal disseminating all the information with these games. But we'll move on down the card. We've only got 5 games left, including Sunday Night Football. Chargers and Chiefs. Chargers now 6.5-point road favorites, 43 the total in this one. I think even at 6.5, don't be scared to lay it with the Chargers. And I know, laying points with the Chargers, Anthony Lynn, we've joked on him and the team a lot this year. But this is a true, we don't give two shits coming down the pike here for Kansas City. They're resting everybody. Andy Reid has been known to do this late in week 17 when his team's clinched everything, and they have basically been a no-show in these spots before in the past under Andy Reid. If not for the line creeping up, this might have been my best bet, to be honest with you today. But I still like the Chargers now at -6.5. I expect them to go out strong. Hey, they're playing hard down the stretch, the Chargers. I will say that. They haven't rolled over. Herbert's still playing well. Obviously, they missed Joey Bosa on defense, but I think they'll be able to score points against Kansas City, resting guys on both sides of the ball. It's basically everybody in terms of the skill position talent for the Chiefs resting today. It's going to be Chad Henne at quarterback, and he is just washed up is a kind thing to say, I think, about Chad Henne. He's now in the twilight of his career, an older guy. A lot of the weapons for Kansas City, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill, et cetera, not playing today for the Chiefs. This just has no show written all over it, in my opinion, for KC. So I think the Chargers get it done by at least a touchdown. Connor, how about you? Chargers, Chiefs.
Yeah, this one I'm just staying away. I don't care who's it. I cannot. Chargers on. I can't take a -6.5.
Yeah.
There's no way. No freaking way. This was a quick pass for me all the way around. It's just everything that's sitting out and no way, 6.5. That's no way. So I just passed. This was one of the quickest that I crossed off.
Yeah.
Couldn't get to it. Yeah.
All right, Steve, your Chargers, are they ready to lay 6.5?
I have to sit up straight really quick so you guys can see this shirt that I'm wearing. You guys know I'm a Charger fan. And I said it before, I don't know if it was this show, but every year it seems like Chargers, they'll start off slow, they'll do nothing early, and then when the games don't matter, then they show up.
Yeah.
and they play their ass off at the end of the year. I'm not laying a touchdown with the Chargers team. I honestly don't care who they're playing. I don't care who is the quarterback. I think the defense, I trust anybody to score on the Chargers team. If the Jets put up what, 28, 30 points on the Chargers, anybody is putting up points on this Chargers team. I don't care if it's Chad Henne or whoever. So if I have to bet this game, I'm going with the over. I think Chargers can score too. I don't think the Chiefs necessarily care too much, but I do think the Chiefs will chip in too. Chargers probably win the game, but I'm not expecting to win by more than a touchdown. So give me the over if I'm playing this one.
All right, Ski, liking points in that one with the Chargers and Chiefs over the total. All right, let's move on down the card to Seattle, San Francisco. Seattle 7-point road favorites, 46 the total in this game. In terms of the scenarios here for the Seahawks, they could still clinch the number 1 seed. However, they got to beat San Fran, and they need a Packer loss, and they need a Saints loss. So they need a lot of things to go their way to get that number 1 seed. Not very likely to happen. The Seahawks have already clinched, of course, the NFC West division after beating the Rams last week. So there is still something out there for the Seahawks in this game. San Francisco isn't rolling. I thought San Francisco was rolling over a couple of weeks ago after that loss to Dallas. And all they did was come back strong against Arizona last week, played a hell of a game. And CJ Beathard's not great, but he sure as hell showed you he's a lot better than Nick Mullins. And that's a positive for the 49ers. I don't think the 49ers are rolling over here. I think they're going to want to show up. They did last week against a division rival, and they probably will here. I'm not laying the 7 here with Seattle. It's a pass for me, but maybe now it's 7 or more. Maybe San Fran does hang a little bit in this game. Connor, what's your thoughts on Seahawks and Niners?
Yeah, I'm with you. I got to take the points with San Francisco. I know Seattle's a little to play for. They're still open to getting the first seed. I don't think they do. I got to take Seattle. Division game. These teams always play tough. I like Seattle, but not laying a touchdown on the road here. Give me the +7 with San Francisco. And the total, nothing really there. I lean a little bit under, but I have no feel for that.
Yeah, I would lean under the total for sure. Unfortunately, it's down already to 45 when it opened 48. Yeah. So big move on the total, but I agree. Ski, how about you? Seattle, San Fran. Sorry,
my mic was muted. But Seattle, you want to attack them through the air, in my opinion, not necessarily on the ground. I think that's the way the 49ers play. I don't think they're going to be able to take advantage of the Seahawks. I don't want to lay with them either, really. Maybe this is a game I would choose to tease with the Titans because I do think the Seahawks still win the game.
Yeah,
but
teaser.
It's kind of, I don't know, maybe I just don't see that many points in this game. It's not one I feel too strong about. I would just lean more towards under because I don't think San Francisco can take advantage of Seahawks through the air.
All right, there we go. I'll lean toward maybe the under in this game for Skee with Seattle, San Fran. Las Vegas, Denver. Now two teams playing for exercise here as well. Las Vegas, 2.5, 3-point road favorites, 50.5 total. After getting their just kicked in the gut last week with the Miami loss to end their season and their playoff hopes, I'm not laying points on the road here with the Raiders. No way, can't do it. I mean, that was just a gut punch loss. You think you've got the win after the Carlson field goal. Next thing you know, face mask on Fitzpatrick. He gets hit as he throws. The ball is just lands right where the receiver is, wide open, gets his feet down, and all of a sudden with the 15-yard penalty for the face mask tacked onto it, they're in field goal range in one play, season over for the Las Vegas Raiders. What a brutal way to lose that was last week against the Dolphins.
Best no-look pass I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. No, look, you're right. He's getting basically his whole head turned around, but a guy yanking on his face mask and still completed the pass. You're right. No look pass football version. It was pretty good, well executed by Ryan Fitzpatrick. But yeah, do you really trust Las Vegas now out of the playoffs? And Derek Carr, veteran quarterback, and a lot of veteran guys that have been here for a while. They miss out on the playoffs again to show up for a meaningless finale. No, I don't. I think Connor's onto something with Denver. Unfortunately, Denver's still too banged up for me that I can't take them, but I think they're the lesser of the two evils here, taking the Broncos. And maybe a lean over the total because I don't trust either defense, but just very small, light opinions for me on this game. Connor, you mentioned it. Just reiterate you like in Denver.
Yeah, I just think the Raiders should not be laying points right now. No way. This should be a pick 'em, I think. And like you said, I lean the over a little bit as well. Las Vegas has just hit the shits. I mean, they're just John Gruden not going in for the touchdown or whatever the hell they were doing there. That was so bad. It was just I can't believe you just score and deal with it. Like that whole bullshit of saving, and so bad. He's horrible. Chucky, come on. Yeah, they're paying that guy $10 million a year. Anyways, Broncos here. Take the points. Take a piece money line, and I lean the over a little bit as well. Both defenses kind of get shredded here. All
right, so Broncos and a lean to the over. Skee, what's your thoughts here, Raiders, Broncos?
Honestly, when you said we have 5 more games, I looked down at my notes and I realized I'm missing an entire sheet of notes. So I'm missing notes on this one, but the Raiders, I agree with what Connor said. I don't think they should be favored versus anybody, and I think I was against them probably the past couple. I've been against them frequently, but I'm just not high on this Raiders team. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they should be favored. I don't think the Broncos are that good either.
Yeah.
But laying with this terrible defense, not me. And Drew Lock, he's not that great either. But when he plays defenses like this, he looks pretty good in those weeks. So I agree that I trust both teams to score. I like the over in this game. And if I have to play a side, I would take Denver as well. Denver to win the game.
All right, lean to the over in Denver as well for Skee. Arizona Cardinals, LA Rams. This is as much a winner take all for both teams as there is on the schedule today in the NFL. We've got the Cardinals now. Pick 'em -1, 1 point favorites on the road here. 41 the total. The initial move was all toward Arizona because the Rams opened a 4-point home favorite here, and then all the money flooded toward Arizona. When it was learned that Kyler Murray was likely going to play, and we already knew Jared Goff was out with the thumb injury, and John Wolford, the Wake Forest product, going to make his NFL debut. What a spot to make your NFL debut, right? Just go out there, win, and try to get us into the playoffs, right? Talk about a pressure spot for John Wolford to make his first ever NFL start. But I'll tell you what, I think he's set up to at least not be a disaster because he's got a good offensive-minded coach, and Sean McVay, to get him ready. There's not many coaches I would trust more than McVay to get a young quarterback in his first start ready to go and put him in a best position possible to succeed. I think McVay can do that. Arizona's got a lot of issues right now. That was an alarming effort against San Francisco. Okay, San Francisco had been really struggling, and Arizona laid a turd out there, essentially, a clunker last week against San Francisco. That worries me. You got a coaching experience edge as well for a game of this magnitude with McVay over Cliff Kingsbury. Still done a pretty good job here in Arizona, but I think that's a little bit of a disadvantage too. I kind of like the Rams here. I think the Rams can win even with Wolford at quarterback here. I don't really have that great feel for Arizona after what I saw last week. That's supposed to be a spot where you show up, get the job done, and they just completely got dominated. Not just lost the game at home, dominated by San Francisco last week. Give me the Rams here. I think they find the way to get it done. And I actually think Goff being out brings the team closer. There are a lot of people that were very upset with Goff for the interceptions, for not really – just falling down easily on a sack and refusing to get hit. A little bit of a, you're not taking one for the team. We're busting our tail out here, and you're just, trying to make sure you don't get hit too hard. That left a bad impression, I think, on some of his teammates. And I think they'll play hard today for Wolford, and I think they'll be amped up. And I've just got concerns about what I'm seeing out of Arizona last week. So give me the Rams here. Connor, what about you? Big one here, Cardinals and Rams.
Yeah, you learn in week 17 and these injuries, like who the hell these backups are. It's like, John who? Like this one, even at 40, I'm not playing this one at 40F. I'd still lean under. Arizona's so banged up and doesn't look good. The Rams, one thing they do, they still got a really good defense. That's why, Ian, I'm with you a little bit. I think they can stay in this game and it could be close, but I just don't like anything about it. So it's a complete pass. I had no feel in the line. Like it's one. Arizona, I mean, maybe the Rams. How much can the Rams score with him at QB? Seen anything on him, so it's a pass for me.
Yeah. By the way, Bucks, Giants, and Patriots with touchdowns here to get the day started. So 7-0 Pats, 7-0 Bucks, 7-0 Giants in the early games so far. Skee, what's your thoughts here with Rams and Cardinals?
So much to keep up with, but if the Bears win, does that affect the Rams?
Because I should have mentioned that there are definitely the Rams for them clinch a playoff spot with a win. First and foremost, Rams are in with a win against Arizona. If they win this game, they're in. If they lose this game to Arizona, they could still get in with a Bears loss to the Packers. So that's their formula. The Rams win, they're in. If they lose, they got to hope the Bears lose to the Packers.
Okay, so it's pretty much a must-win for both teams, and I'm not sure what we'll get from Wolford. I can't even say his name correctly, but
John. I call him.
The defense will have to show up for him. I mean, they can still get after Kyler Murray, especially if he's banged up. And I wasn't too impressed with how I saw him look last week. Ian kind of talked about how they should have showed up in that game. And if the Rams, I mean, they still need to win to get in. I'm not running to the window to back the Cardinals. I think I would lean more towards the Rams side and just that defense to get after Kyler. If I had to play this one, I'll just lean towards the Rams for that reason.
All right, lean toward the Rams for Skee as well. So, yeah, and Arizona wins, they're in as well. It's winning, they're in. It's for the Cardinals. I thought the Cardinals needed a Bears.
They just don't. They just haven't looked good, though, and they're banged up, too. It's been like ever since that Hail Mary pass, they just have been they've been mediocre or not even mediocre.
Yeah, exactly. No, the Cardinals actually, they clinch a playoff berth with a win and a Bears loss. So they need the Bears loss as well. The Arizona Cardinals. That's the way it goes with them in this regard. So that's what we're looking at here in terms of the clinching scenarios in this game. So very, very important game, obviously, on both sides, Cardinals and Rams. All right, Sunday Night Football. Here we go. This definitely is going to be a good one here. Washington, Philadelphia. It seems like we're set up for a fairy tale, just perfect ending, right? Perfect ending to this for this team. Make the playoffs. Alex Smith, who's battled so freaking much in his life and in his career, and now all of a sudden coming back from injury and maybe leading this Washington team to a playoff victory in the first game or the final game of the regular season, coming back from injury, lead Washington to the playoffs and the division title. would just be like a storybook fairy tale ending here if it were to happen. Washington taking all the money, by the way. This opened as low as, wow, if Philadelphia actually on the early lines, like from last Sunday, was a -4 home favorite. We got Washington now a 6.5 point road favorite. You're talking double digits move here in this number. Browns touchdown, by the way, they're on the board 7-0 over Pittsburgh to start that game. And I understand. I mean, I understand. Washington's going to have Alex Smith back. It's all in front of them. It's just a question of, do you really want to be laying 6.5 now when it was, below a field goal earlier this week? They were an underdog at the start. They were below a field goal most of the week as short road favorites. Now they're laying 6.5. I mean, that's a big adjustment that's been made. Philadelphia's banged up like crazy on defense. Like, they've got guys in the secondary out. Linebacking core is not that great. They're ailing. Fletcher Cox, one of the leaders on defense, out for this game as well. Where's the pass rush now going to come from against Alex Smith? I get it. They've got issues on the defensive side of the football, the Eagles, and it showed last week. Dallas shredded them all game long last week, the loss which ended their season against the Cowboys. So this could be a good day for Alex Smith. I know they're still going to be possibly without Terry McLaurin in this game, and we know how big an impact he is for this wide receiving core. He's questionable right now, but Cam Sims has stepped up. Isaiah Wright. They have Antonio Gandy-Golden finally healthy, the Liberty receiver. I think he's going to provide a boost. Logan Thomas has been good at tight end. There's still some options there for Washington, and certainly a defense that's very vulnerable right now with the Eagles. So I agree with the move to Washington. It's just, I don't know if you haven't bet it yet, I don't know if I'd tell you to lay 6.5 right now. I probably wouldn't say that at this point. The over might get there, though. I kind of lean over the total here because, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they've shown that they can move the ball. It was a little rougher of a game for them last week, but still overall, Jalen Hurts has been solid. I think they could put some points on the board, and I think Washington will put some on the board against more than some against a really, really struggling, banged up Eagles defense that's going to be shorthanded and depleted going into this game. So I lean Washington, although the number's gotten a little carried away, but I do like the over here. 43.5, reasonable number. I mean, that's 24-20 cash as a ticket. So I think you can get over the 43.5 in this game on Sunday night. Connor, what about you? Washington football team, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I lean a little bit towards the over. I think this has gone up too much, though. As much as Philly's banged up, and I go with the Eagles here. I don't know if I'm going to bet this game. If it touches 7, I'm going to jump on the Eagles. I don't think it gets there. But even at 6.5, I think it's way too many points. I got to go with the Eagles here, even though I think Washington might win the game. Alex Smith's back. Their defense is better. But give me the Eagles here, plus 6.5. I'm going to see if there's a 7. I doubt it gets there, but Eagles.
Yeah, we're going to find out about the Eagles in terms of pride and wanting to play spoiler because, again, they had their playoff hopes dashed last week, and they roar back, respond, and at least try to put up a spoiler role type of fight here against Washington. And remember, Washington has to win, and Washington's out if they don't win this game. Because if Washington loses this game, the division goes to the winner of the Giants-Cowboys game, which is going on right now. So this is a must for Washington. There's no path to the playoffs and the division for them if they don't win this game. Skee, what's your thoughts here, Washington football team and the Eagles?
Yeah, I think if you got in on Washington early, I mean, you're golden. I think they'll win this game, but I'm sorry, I just looked at some other injury information that came in, popped up on my screen, got my attention, but I think it's moved too much now. At 6.5, I'd have to be going with the dog. I don't think Washington is that good to be laying a touchdown. So division game, I still think the Eagles will play that spoiler role. Washington probably wins, but not by a touchdown. I'll take the Eagles plus the 6.5.
All right, liking the Eagles plus the 6.5, and I think from a value standpoint, it's not crazy to go in that direction because that's a huge move. I mean, really, it is. I mean, it's up to now they got to win by a touchdown, and remember, it's a Washington team that they had. Now it was Haskins. Haskins completely flushed their chances of clinching the division last week down the toilet with just an atrocious game on his part against Carolina. But still, they didn't play well as a team. I know they have Smith back, but there's a lot of pressure now on this Washington group. They've been the great story, but they're not only having to win this game now, win by a touchdown. Could be a little bit too much to ask. We'll have to wait and see. And we'll have to wait and see what kind of effort we get from the Eagles. Do they want to play spoiler? tonight after seeing their playoff hopes end last week. Good one, though, on Sunday Night Football, the regular season finale. That's going to wrap it up. We've already given you our best bets. We'll recap them. Skees likes the Bears plus 4.5 against the Packers. Connor's on Denver Broncos plus 3 against Las Vegas. I'm on the Bears Packers over 48.5 as my best bet. That's going to wrap it up for this show. The three of us are on tomorrow. Remember that 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, NBA closing time show tomorrow. On Monday, we'll be doing that show now Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week moving forward. So looking forward to that. And before we'll let Connor talk, I know he wants to talk about the sponsors, I'm sure.
Let me hit the sponsors real quick. Yeah, thanks, Ian. Wolf Spreads, go download it last week. Get it in. Get your bets in. You can download it right now and do this last week. You get 2K, bet the games, bet it however you want. You miss these 10 o'clock games, you can do all the afternoon games. If you win, take a bunch of dogs and win it. Take it from our champion Big Show, who's won it 3 times. But if you win at the end of the week, you win a bunch of PSR merch. We got shirts, sweatshirts, hats. So do that. And then if you need another book, everyone needs multiple books. Go to mybookie.ag, hit promo code PubSports. You get 50% off debit or credit, and you get 100% off Bitcoin. So you put 1,000, you get 1,000 with Bitcoin. So if you put 1,000 with the debit or credit, you only get 500. You get half. So and lastly, hit up bulksupplements.com, promo code PubSports. You get 10% off your order. Get jacked up. Take all that good stuff, that you need, all those vitamins, all those supplements, all that good crap you need to keep your immune system good, get you jacked up, whatever. Get it done. Bulk supplements. Later. Done.
Make sure. There we go. Yeah, make sure you get it now, some of that stuff after Christmas booze and Christmas food up the yin yang for the last couple of weeks. Good time with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to join in on some of that wolf spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Wolf Spreads it's a good app. We have lots of contests, competitions going there. Definitely check that out here with what we're doing at Pub Sports Radio. College basketball 3 days a week with Connor and I, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We've got NBA with the three of us Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it's a lot of basketball shows coming up this week on Pub Sports Radio. I'm going to talk to Connor and Skee, but I think we'll make this official now if we can, if you guys are available to do the Saturday to do the NFL closing time show next week, Saturday at noon Eastern instead of Sunday at noon Eastern, because we got wild card weekend. We've got 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday next weekend in the wild card round. So we might move the NFL closing time show to Saturday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific instead of Sunday, because we got 6 games, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday for wild card weekend. Boy, am I looking forward to that. Triple header. NFL wildcard playoff football next weekend. 3 triple header Saturday, triple header Sunday. Doesn't really get much better than that. We're looking forward to it. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Too many names to mention, but I've recognized a bunch of them. James, Aaron, Gas Station, Sushi, MMA Locker Room, Alex Ramirez, and everybody else in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Remember, we're on tomorrow with the NBA show, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Join us for that. For Connor, Mac and Skee Profit, I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy the NFL action. Enjoy the games and good luck. Have a great Sunday and a profitable Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the NBA Closing Time Show right here on Pub Sports Radio.